Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December 9th combined meeting of the Pine-Richland School Board. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. And perhaps, Mr. DiTullio, you could remain standing while you are sworn in, having just successfully been reelected to your position with us.
Are we going to Photoshop Greg into the other picture?
And put a tie.
And put a tie.
That would be odd.
If you raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Greg DiTullio.
I, Greg DiTullio.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support, obey, and defend
Will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Greg, and thank you for your service. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Lyons.
Here.
Ms. Misbach.
Here.
Mr. Kashani.
Here.
Dr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. DiTullio.
Here.
Dr. Mihalik.
Here.
And Mr. Moy.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Recognition of visitors. If anyone would like to address the board, they may do so at this time.
Hi, everybody. The mic is a little high. It's a little high. Okay. Owen did that for me earlier. Good evening. I am Deb Lund, and I am the Executive Director of the Pine-Richland Opportunities Fund. And I just wanted to take a quick minute, pardon the schnoz talk, to thank you guys so much for the donation that you made to us. I wanted to just give you a little bit of insight, and you'll hear more about this in the future and in January especially. But we realized that the award that you got for innovation, for outstanding innovation, was something that was spectacular. And you turned around, and I just wanted to let you know how far your gift of generosity went. Since your donation, Prof, was overwhelmed this fall, we received incredibly thoughtful grant requests that were made by Pine-Richland staff members. It was our largest grant window ever, and so it was a wonderful and exciting time of evaluation for our committee and for our board. It caused us to have a lot of great conversation about the kinds of things that Pine-Richland staff is doing, and we just wanted to thank you because we know that it starts with a great partnership with you guys and with administration. The result was the funding of 4 very impactful grants. One is the sensory room at the high school. That was a really incredibly thoughtful grant submitted by Mrs. Settembrino. The second is the collaboration room at the Pine-Richland Middle School, and that's going to be really exciting to see that come to life for all of the students there. The third was for the hackathon, which was super successful last year, and we can't wait to see what they do with it this year. And I know that they have plans to integrate some of the curriculum into the elementary schools as well for that. And a really great grant at Hants to help encourage their habitat in their outdoor learning classroom. So I just wanted to let you know that your donation is a perfect example of how important community partnerships are to Prof, because these are the things that fund these outstanding ideas submitted by Pine-Richland staff members. So thank you so much. Our absolute utmost gratitude to all of you from all of us. And thank you for your partnership in this way and for the donation. So thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Ms. Lund, thank you so much. We're going to have to try harder next year because they're looking for it. So there's good places to put those funds to use, everyone. Fantastic. Thank you for the work that you guys do. Student and staff recognition, Ms. Huffman.
Thank you. Pine-Richland School District is announcing that kindergarten registration will be held in March at the central offices here, which are located at 702 Warrendale Road. Sessions will be held from 8 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. on March 9th for Hampton Elementary School, March 10th for Richland Elementary School, and March 12th or 13th for Wexford Elementary School. Prior to registration, participants should visit pinerichland.org/enrollment for instructions, verification forms, and health forms, and also a questionnaire. All documents need to be completed and presented at registration. Also, if you have any questions, you can email enrollment@pinerichland.org. Pine-Richland High School Air Force Junior ROTC cadets have been earning top awards at various competitions. Most recently, the high school hosted its annual competition this past Saturday. Not sure if you had a chance to stop by. I stopped by and saw the inspection drill, and it's quite remarkable. The cadets were spot on, very impressive. They earned first place overall, not surprising. They also earned first place at the Youngstown Air National Guard Base competition. Both Chief Michael Gasparetto and Michael Morrison oversee participation in these programs. Also, Pine-Richland juniors and seniors are earning recognition through A.W. Beatty Career Center. Senior Matthew Mahofsky was named October-November Student of the Month for his work in computer systems technology. Junior Camille Greer earned recognition for early childhood education, and Senior Jeffrey Swanson for HVAC. Also, a big shout out to Pine-Richland High School student government, students, and sponsors for collecting toys district-wide. They filled 6 school buses in the annual Stuff-A-Bus program. Amazing. All schools participated, and Student Transportation of America donated bus service for the project. Just amazing generosity during the holiday season. And that's all for now.
Thank you, Richard. Correspondence, Ms. Williams?
Mr. Nick Gaidos emailed the board regarding Hans Elementary.
Thank you. Item 1.05 is an action item, a motion to approve the minutes as attached.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Dr. Campbell, Student Services.
Yes, item 2.01 is an information item, presentation, which I believe I'll be handing off to Mr. Hostwit. So if you want to take it away and present your student service update.
Sure, thank you. For tonight's student service update, we will focus on a triumvirate of support services for students requiring supports for social, behavioral, or emotional needs. And those services consist of our pupil services process, our student assistance program, which is also known as our SAP program, our school-based mental health program, which is provided by the Holy Family Institute. About 5 years ago, we had some of these programs in place, but not all of them. We had them in place in some buildings, but not all of them. What's really exciting is now we have all 3 of these programs in place in all of our buildings, K-12, for every grade level. So for an encore performance, we brought back Dr. Paxson, our lead psychologist, and Ms. Carolyn Welshons, our secondary campus social worker, to go through some slides for you. We have about a 10-minute presentation, and then we can take some questions.
So thank you. We appreciate you allowing us to speak again about such an important initiative. We talk about that framework about resiliency and that ability to bounce back. And when you think about that outer circle, those external factors, that's that community, the school, family, friends, activities for our students. But those internal factors are really those protective factors that teach our children those problem solving and really that ability to modulate and control their emotions. So just like Mr. Huswitz said, we have some great services that we put in place for students. We have our pupil service teams, which is K through 12, our student assistance programs, as well as our school-based mental health. And what our pupil service team meetings are, we really meet as teams, counselors, principals, psychologists, social worker, to really talk about some of those intense services that maybe our students would take advantage of. Like if a student's transitioning back from a hospitalization, or if they're struggling with attendance, or need extra check-ins with staff, we really, as team members at the high school level, we meet once a week to talk about those supportive students for students, those supportive services for students. In addition, the middle school meets every week, and then Eden Hall meets every other week. Carolyn Welshon's going to talk to us about the Student Assistance Program, K through 12. She really is an integral part and helps support this program at a 7 through 12 perspective. But it's exciting to know that we have this program within our schools, K through 12.
Thank you, and thank you so much for giving me time to come in today to talk about our SAP program. We are doing really great work getting our students involved in resources both inside of the school as well as outside of the school through our SAP program. So I think it's important for you to understand exactly what we're doing. Over the last couple years, our SAP teams have been working really hard to build our program and make it the best that it can be. One of the things that we have started to do within the last 2 years is hold SAP team maintenance meetings. At those meetings, we talk about things that we can do as a team to improve our overall goals. One of the things we had talked about just this past year was increasing awareness about the SAP program. So this was actually a goal of ours, to come speak to you and give you more information, as well as providing more information to our staff members, our students, and our community. SAP has been around in Pennsylvania for 35 years. Every school in Pennsylvania has to have a SAP team. So we're, of course, fulfilling that need here. The purpose to SAP is to overcome any barrier to learning. A barrier can be anything, and it can be different for every student who is addressed through our SAP program. Sometimes it's mental health needs that we help students with. Sometimes it's social emotional needs. Sometimes it's an academic need, or maybe even a drug and alcohol concern. Whatever the concern is, it's the team's goal to help the student overcome that barrier and reach their academic potential. Something else that SAP does a great job of is helping families navigate that complex world of mental health. I don't know if you've ever tried to find a therapist or a program for yourself or for a family member, but it is really challenging. There's a lot of programs out there. Most of us are not aware of the different levels of care, and it can be really scary. It can be even scary just to admit that you or your family member needs that assistance. So SAP is the perfect way to really baby step into that world. We have helped students find services within the schools, such as tutoring or mentoring, making sure they're making use of our academic supports like the Math Help Lab, things like that. But we've also helped our students find therapeutic programs all the way up through hospitalization. So we've really worked with each individual student, their individual needs, and we've found them unique services that fit their need. The last most important thing too about SAP is we really help to increase the communication between our family members and the school staff, as well as bringing in those outside providers to be a part of the discussion so we can really focus on the entire child. We have worked hard to inform our staff members of what is an appropriate SAP referral. So this comes from our training for our staff members. We ask them to send a student's name our way if they see a change in behavior, if they see a change in academics, if they know that a student is struggling with a social or emotional need, maybe they've lost a loved one. If they think that there might be some drug or alcohol abuse, we ask them to send us their name. We can provide our students with a mental health screening, which is the way we help our students find those resources outside of school. However, we don't have to utilize the mental health screening. So if we feel like a student just is looking for supports within the school, or if the family is not interested in branching outside of the school for help, we don't need the screening. We just look at what resources we can put into place for the student within the school. If a parent does deny a SAP screening, if they don't feel it's necessary at the time, we can do that screening at any point during the SAP process. Anybody can refer a student to SAP. So this is why we need to get information out about our SAP program to the community and to our staff members. We want to make sure not only is our staff referring kids to SAP, but we want our families to refer their own students to SAP if they feel that there's a need. We also want community members who maybe are worried about their students' friends. We want anybody to refer a kid to SAP. We also have students who make referrals to SAP as well as self-referrals, so a student can refer themselves. In order for us to proceed with the SAP process, we do reach out to parents and ask them for permission. So we don't proceed until we ask the parents if they want their student to be involved in SAP, and we give them an idea of what SAP looks like. We have access to a SAP referral form here, but it's also on our district website, which I'm going to show you in a couple slides. SAP is completely confidential, so anything that we talk about within our SAP team meetings stays within the meetings. We do ask parents to allow us to communicate things that teachers need to know if that exists. However, we do abide by confidentiality, and if a parent asks us to keep it within the SAP team, that's where the information remains. There are 4 phases of SAP. So first, we receive the referral from staff members, community members, students, and we decide as a SAP team if it would be a case that our SAP team can assist with. More often than not, it is something that we can assist with and want to assist with. We then reach out to the parent for permission. Once the parent gives us permission, that's when we go into team planning mode. So we start to gather information from the parents, the student themselves, as well as the students' teachers, so that we can get an idea of what everybody's concerns are, and then we can bring those back to the table where we have a lot of brilliant minds working together to develop that unique plan for our student. On our SAP team, we have our school administrators, some teachers who have been trained in SAP. We have our school nurses, the school counselors, school psychologists. So like I said, a lot of great minds coming together. There's always somebody who's thinking of something that we haven't tried for a student. So if the initial plan that we put into place is not working for the student, we go back to the drawing board and come up with different ideas. One of the most important things of SAP is the support and follow-up. So we're consistently meeting with the student, we're consistently reaching out to family and teachers to make sure whatever concerns we're addressing are resolving. And if they're not, again, we go back to the drawing board. This is a link to our website. This was another goal that the high school SAP team had for improving our SAP process. Like I said, we want information to go out to the community. So this is a great resource. If you get a chance, click on that link because it lists everybody who's involved in SAP within the district, what SAP looks like, and then there's a lot of really great community resources on there for our parents. So they can simply click on a tab that says grief, and there's a lot of grief resources and drug and alcohol resources. Anything you can think of is listed on that website.
And I just wanted to mention the Student Assistance Program website. Also, it's K through 12. So the resources on there gives all the SAP teams K through 12, from the elementary buildings to Eden Hall, middle school, and the high school, with those resources and links to outside services. Across the district, K through 12, we also have school-based mental health services. And we have an agreement through Allegheny County and Holy Family to have those services across the district, K through 12. They're confidential services, any barriers to outside treatment. So there's satellite offices in all of our school buildings. And again, just as if a student or a family would go to an outside service or counseling services outside of the school, it's completely confidential. And if parents would release consent to talk to that outside counselor, then we could speak with the counselor. It's really great. It links the barrier to counseling services. So if students are struggling to get to services because of their work schedule or because of outside activities or families' activities in their work schedule, it's right within the school day. And we've seen great support through Holy Family. So thank you. We appreciate the time that you've given us today to talk about those layers and resources that we have for our students. Any questions?
I have a question about the parent permission. Is it required until they're 18 for the parent permission?
Yes,
so
it
there's
is.
not an earlier, I thought there was an earlier age at one point.
For school-based,
if the student, oh.
for school-based mental health or for SAP resources? For
Is there-
both, you
there's
would
a
need those
difference?
parent permission.
Okay.
But a student can be 14 or older and sign for mental health resources.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, since one of the goals is increasing awareness, what specifically is being done or will be done to inform parents about all these things here? What outreach things are you planning?
We have been sending out our letters, our resiliency letters and supports, and that information is embedded into those supports, as well as we've been talking at PTO meetings to share the information. And then in addition to that, we've been speaking at different parent groups. So we do the parent workshops, and we also provide those resources.
We've had tables at open houses this year as well, and we plan to continue that in the future.
So have you seen a shift in who's referring students?
We have.
As more information's out, I'm guessing most of the referrals will come from teachers at first, guessing? Or
So school counselors were pretty much the referral source. We have gradually gotten more staff members to refer, and I would say now we have quite a few staff members who refer, and trickling in we have parent referrals and student referrals.
Yeah, we've seen an increase in parent referral as well as student referral, which has been positive because really it's getting supports for students.
Yeah, well, it shows that the word is getting out.
Absolutely.
Tori, you want to talk a little bit about just advertising in the hallways, moving from hallways to restrooms just for privacy?
Right. We have posters in all of the guidance offices with these resources in the guidance offices. They're in our hallways on posters. And then we even have the posters in our restrooms as supports and numbers, resource numbers for our students. At the elementary building at Eden Hall, they're given bookmarks. And on the bookmarks, they talk about to students to go to trusted adults, but also give resource numbers as well as talk about SAP.
Do you have a rough idea about how many referrals we're handling a year?
So already this school year, we were just talking about it at the high school alone. This school year, we already have 100 SAP referrals. And we had over 400 last year across the district, K through 12.
Should definitely give some thought to what we're tracking and what we want to track, or what you think is relevant for us to be aware of over time. Yeah.
So, any other comments? I have a few sort of summary comments. Okay, so just first, thank you, and thanks, Noel. We've had a series of topics in the past month, and we will continue in the area of student services, pupil services. And I'm not sure that the community at large or that families in general understand the role of mental health and some of the complexities that exist within families and within students and what that looks like in the school day. If you have had a personal experience, then you understand the complexity of care. And a lot of what these resources do when implemented in a systematic way together, it's really about relationships, understanding kids, building relationships with families so that when we do communicate, there's as much of an open line of communication as possible. It's hard to talk about issues such as mental health or barriers that may exist or the family dynamics that exist. But all of this affects students' ability to come to school ready to learn, their ability to attend school frequently, the stressors that come when students feel pressure from all over the place, including whatever issues they may be dealing with. So, SAP, for example, 30 years ago, it would be drugs and alcohol would come to mind first, then other topics. That still is a part of what SAP is about, but it is also about mental health awareness and providing supports. We do, and I'll use suicide awareness as another example. We monitor referrals, information concerns across the district. Those are not numbers, however, that we would be looking to increase or decrease. So it's an example of a metric or a number that we're aware of because we're trying to understand what's happening in our schools. But at the same time, the goal is to refer. So we would much rather have referral numbers if people have concern than building a culture or environment where there's a fear of referral because of the tracking of those numbers, if that makes any sense. So this is an example from my view where we do monitor a whole lot of information. We don't publish that information because we don't believe that's in the best interests of the services that we're talking about. Yeah, so again, relationships, as you were talking, was what was coming to mind. And we are very fortunate to have staff members who really understand the resources that exist in the community. And they are all around us. I mean, it is amazing in the North Hills of Pittsburgh to know what we have around us. But the challenge is, how do you become aware of and get plugged into the place that may make the most sense for that family? So again, thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Preston.
Appreciate it. Thank
Mrs.
you.
Fulchance.
All right, moving on, item 2.02, the FBLA Leadership Conference. We have a motion to approve the student attendance and application of the Student Discipline Code for the Future Business Leaders of America to travel to Hershey, PA from April 5th to April 8th to compete in a state leadership conference and competition as described, with a cost to the district of $10,000 from budgeted funds, with additional costs covered by the students attending.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 2.03, the Spain trip for 2021. This is a motion to approve the student attendance and application of the Student Discipline Code for the Spanish students to travel to Spain in late March 2021 as described in the attached field trip request form. If international events occur that raise a threat level to the United States and or U.S. tourists in Europe, this motion may be rescinded. Summary is attached and there's zero cost to the district.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2.04 is the Air Force Junior ROTC Orientation Flight 2020, and it's a motion to approve the student attendance and application of the Student Discipline Code for our students to travel to Vienna, Ohio on January 29th of next year to participate in an orientation flight on a C-130 as described on the attached field trip request form with zero cost to the district.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Just seems like it's really cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, can we go too?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
We could have a board meeting.
Then we go on a C-130.
There you go. There you
Plus one there.
go. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2.05 is another activity the board would like to attend, the Air Force Junior ROTC Cedar Point trip. The students will be they'll be in attendance and an application of the Student Discipline Code for the ROTC students to travel to Sandusky on Saturday, May 23rd from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. to go to Cedar Point as described with zero cost to the district.
Second.
Any discussion? Oh.
These trips whenever I was here.
Did you do, were you an ROTC student?
Yes.
Sorry.
They just got you up early, made you like do drills?
I don't think Barbara's on that one either, will you?
All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2.06 is a planetarium update for information purposes. So there was some maintenance that was done on the planetarium this year to bring some of the wiring up to code. One shocking thing is the software on it is running Windows 2000. So the next step is to hopefully get a new software system. So there's some estimated costs of upgrading that to something that's internet capable in this day and age, and virus resistant, I assume. So estimated cost of $30,000 to $40,000 would be the next step for that. We're very excited to have that upgrade. We also, some teachers attend a conference and look at a digital replacement to the planetarium that would cost about $500,000. But in the meantime, so that's in the, looks like we're adding that to the 10-year capital funding plan as a consideration. But it doesn't quite have the resolution of the current system, so it's sort of on the back burner. We got to see the planetarium on our high school tour last month, and also learned that while looking at the Zodiac constellation that Dr. Miller is in fact an Aries the Ram, coincidentally. But we had a great time in the planetarium, and we're looking forward to supporting that and keeping that up and running and up to date, hopefully. All right, and that's just an information item.
So I have to pause at the 500,000 and the number going forward. So I'll say I can't be opposed or in favor at this point, but more data on how many years, so I can't measure the return on that investment without a without a lifespan. So I know this is just a placeholder at this point, but I'll confess my jaw dropped a little bit.
Yeah, we've gotten 30 years out of that. That'll be at that point be over 30 years out of the existing planetarium.
Yeah, that was 1993
Which-
and
which is
300,000
good.
at that time.
Yeah.
So what was the last analog system you placed digital and you got longer out of?
Yeah.
It's because of that price tag that it's in an information item now,
Yeah.
just to be able to put that out there for much discussion later.
Thank you.
All right, and the final item, 2.07, is an information item about an upcoming Joint Student and Operational Services Committee meeting scheduled for March 16th, 2020 at 6 p.m. We'll be talking about redistricting. Fun, fun, fun.
Thanks, Ben. Strategic plan update.
Mrs. Kirk, Mr. Stovall.
In terms of the financial software system, we have an entire kind of a schedule laid out between mid-January and actually next September. So our go-live date for the financial system with Tyler Infinite Visions will be July 1st, but they have already scheduled multiple sessions from July through September to assist us with different payrolls based on complexity and those types of things. So our first kind of kickoff on-site training will be January 21st, 22nd, 23rd. We'll have a variety of different pieces in there where we're going to kind of lay out what that's going to look like. There's 4 large areas that we need to export and import from our current system into the new system. One being the chart of accounts, which I'm actually just building on my own rather than exporting it. Our vendor listing, I have a support ticket in currently. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to go. And based on how that goes, we'll see how easy it's going to be to export the employee demographic information, the HR information. So probably the biggest unknown that we have at the moment is looking to see what that actual import-export is going to look like, and that's based on our current system. For the most part, though, everything has been laid out. Attached to your agenda is also a presentation that was developed by our project manager, Lynn, at Tyler, and it just kind of gives a very large overview of how they see our conversion process and all the different steps along the way. So feel free to peruse through that, and if you happen to have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And I'll turn it over to Sean for the student information update.
Very similar to the financial information system, we've been diligently working with the Sapphire team, having weekly updates. They call them functional consultations, kind of reviewing the data import, export, and workflow processes. We successfully pulled our first data export from the eSchool system and have moved that into the new system. And today was our first look at how that data lined up, and we were very pleased to see our data now lives in 2 places. And you know, it's kind of a sigh of relief whenever you know that your data is no longer in the legacy system and that we have a copy of it. So we have that from the student information system. We'll be working to do the same thing with IEP Writer and Healthy Tools as we move that data into the new system and making sure that everything's lining up. We're going through the security settings and kind of mapping some of the configurations to the way we'd like to have the system flow. We have a variety of meetings with different stakeholders, whether they're high school or middle school guidance, working through a variety of configuration items. We're also mapping out several trainings that will occur later on in the year after the system is configured the way we need to have it. So we're very excited for the system. It was very difficult today after we got the login to not look around and poke and see how things are functioning, but we were very pleased with what we did see, and we're excited for moving forward with it.
So this is really the definition of a key strategic initiative. I mean, the student information, financial information system, they touch everybody in our organization, and some people work in both of those systems. So again, a lot of attention to detail. This was a whole year of study, then approval, now almost a whole year of planning for the transition. And as Mr. Stopener said, even the professional development calendar was built with the understanding that the trainings would need to happen prior to the end of the current school year so that we can roll over and then get going next year. So a lot of work has been done, a lot of work needs to be done. So thank you. The next item.
Before I go, just one comment, Mr. Everett. It didn't occur to me that July 1 is obviously the first day of our fiscal year, makes a lot of sense for finance. But it occurs to me because of conversations at the IU where we implement a new system, you're going to be in the middle, though, of payroll from a tax year standpoint. People don't want 2 W-2s, so I assume you're taking extra pains to make sure all the data in the old system imports properly to the new system.
We did share that information with Tyler on the front end because we were trying to determine which go live date we wanted. So we did float the idea of actually January 1, 2021. But they actually feel that they've had a number of districts been able to successfully do this in July and be able to map over the W-2s. Now, again, I can't necessarily guarantee that we won't end up with 2. Obviously, the goal will be for 1, but until they're here, and more importantly, I'm more concerned about trying to get the HR data out of our current system. I can build the chart of accounts. I could probably even build the vendor list for our 5,000 vendors, but to build the employee data, that's going to be brutal. So it's going to be tricky to see how it's going to work out, but they are aware. And again, we did look at all different options. So it's going to be fun for the next 6-7 months. It'll be a good time.
Well, I appreciate it. It matters to employees. Next to the numbers on it. Thank you.
You need a different hobby festival.
The next item is board goals, and we had our first round of visitations to the high school and to Hance Elementary School. And so we have this here to hopefully find a date for our next school visitation. So Eden Hall and Richland Elementary School are the 2 schools that we're planning for. Again, the goal being that when the board has an opportunity to see all 6, there would be different areas of focus within each of the 6 schools to sort of get a broader picture of all of the things that we talk about and you hear about through board meetings and planning and the strategic plan, but while there, to really get into the details of that so that you can see it, the programs as they impact kids. So we were looking in January, and I wanted to, we know that it's the challenge of this type of goal. It's a tough ask with work schedules and other things. So it is just the nature of things. The principals had identified the possibility of Friday, January 24th. So I want to put that out there first as, and I'm not sure that we'll find a perfect date for everybody, but that's.
At the moment, it's open.
I'm a 2:30 hard stop, but that's probably
Okay.
pretty not bad.
That's fine, yeah.
I'm on board.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, well, then
That's
we
as
will,
close as we're
that's
gonna
sold,
get.
yes. Okay, January 24th, and we'll do some work to coordinate and prepare. But again, our goal is to make that as natural and authentic as it can be when a whole group of visitors come into a building and observe something happening. So, but we will thank you for that. The other thing I just wanted to mention is in the board goals for the strategic plan. Could we pull up the page 6 there? Just so can you make it just a hair bigger? So the board section there is listed, and if you look at the sort of the second to last board goal, it says ensure representative attendance and participation with internal and external partners. And so we had Mrs. Lund here tonight from Prof, and we have Prof representation. You know, and tonight we'll have more conversation about AWB, Pine Parks, and some other things. But Key communicators, Mrs. Misbach attends. But this kind of visibility, I just wanted to bring up again, is something that is a part of what we do, but it's also a part of what the board has set out as goals. And that may include some of the other town halls and workshops and other events that happen, you know, on a less regular basis, but they happen at different points in time. So again, I just wanted to mention that because later tonight we have a couple more items for discussion in the board business section of the agenda.
It does actually check two boxes. We need to go to the visits as a matter of our due diligence to educate ourselves, but it does make us more visible. And I will say it's frankly a pleasure because you're doing so in a curated fashion. So it's pretty easy to stay on message in that environment and with the presentations as we saw them. So it's good.
Okay, thank you.
Finance, Mr. Kashani.
Item 4.01. Motion to approve the financial reports dated October 31st, 2019, and accounts payable dated December 9th, 2019, in the amount of $348,019.04, and paid accounts for November, December, in the amount of $5,840,457.59 as listed.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4.02, motion to approve budget transfers in the amount of $14,475 as attached.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4.03, motion to approve a resolution pursuant to Section 311D1, Special Session Act of 2006, certifying Pine-Richland School Board will not raise local taxes at a rate to exceed the school district's Act 1 index of 2.6% for 2020 and 2021 as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4.04, motion to acknowledge receipt of the 2018-2019 independent audit report.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4.05, motion to acknowledge receipt of the Pine-Richland School District Tax Collector Real Estate and Per Capita Tax Audit for the year ended June 30th, 2019.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4.06, motion to continue Pine-Richland School District's membership in the AIU Unit Joint Purchasing Board, which will be empowered to make bulk purchases of selected items for 2020 with Dana Kirk named as the representative and Rachel McCarthy as an alternate to the Joint Purchasing Board.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4.07 is just information to review what we covered in the Joint Finance Building and Grounds Committee meeting that was held prior to this meeting. We reviewed the audited financial statements, after which we did not receive new pens, just for the record. We also discussed the Act 1 timeline and the Act 1 resolution, which we passed in 4.03. And again, that's not to say that there will be a tax increase. It's just to say that we will not, if we need to increase taxes, it will not exceed 2.6%. And then we also discussed the capital funding. We got an update from Mr. Zimmerman, namely talking about the Field 6 and stadium turf replacement, and also the new roofs that we're getting through the insurance reimbursement, and roofs spelled
Either way.
either way.
Roofs or roofs, either is appropriate. That's correct.
And I think that's it for 4.07.
Thank you, Mark.
And then 4.08 is just a reminder that we have another Finance Committee meeting coming up February 10th and April 6th. And guess what we'll be talking about? the budget capital funding plan. And that's a wrap.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, Dr. Miller, if you do academic achievement.
Sure. So item 5.01 is just a review of the Academic Achievement Committee meeting. This is we had a combined meeting in November for the last number of years in order to free up an evening to really deeply look at student performance on a series of standardized measures. We were very clear in the presentation and in the report itself that this is just one set of performance results for student learning, but it gives us the opportunity to look at those results and, more importantly, identify areas of focus for students in a class or course, but also individual students based upon their needs. And so again, for anybody who was not able to be there or for the community, I would encourage them to review those materials. And the next item, 5.02, is just to schedule a meeting. And again, this is a separate night meeting, but we believe our in-depth program review process is a national best practice. We believe this is the most important way we look at our programs and services and consider ways to improve. And so the reason this is on a separate night is to allow those presentations to take as much time as they need. So May 4th at 6 o'clock, we would have English Language Arts, Library, and Music prepared to share their recommendations from the study phase of this process, and then they implement those recommendations over the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Buildings and Grounds, Mr. DiTullio.
Item 6.01 is a motion to accept Horizon Information Service, Inc.'s bid and award the contract in the amount of $24,350 for the purchase of a new band trailer, interior shelving, exterior graphics for the Pine-Richland Marching Band as attached. Is all that going to be covered by the insurance?
It will be.
It will be. Okay.
Second.
Oh, I'm just catching up.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6.02 is a motion to ratify change order number 1 from Vrabel Plumbing LLC in the amount of $4,796 to add carriers and wall mount fixtures as part of the Richland Elementary project. I noticed that the toilet room name is gone. This is one of those cases where you don't know what you're getting into until you rip into an old wall, and everything I saw, this was not something that we could have foreseen, so seems like a justifiable change order.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6.03 is a motion to accept in accordance with Board Policy 702 gifts, grants, and donation, and with very sincere gratitude, a donation from Gaming Economic Development Fund and a grant in the amount of $250,000 for improvements to the Pine-Richland High School Field 6.
Second.
And with many thanks to our representatives as well. These come in quite handy and timely for us right now. All those in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And item 6.03 is an information item. Will be approval for rebidding and cooperative purchasing program process for the Field 6 Stadium turf replacement. Any discussion? All right. Item 6.05 is also an information item, and it will be considered at the January combined meeting a motion to approve the vendor that will be chosen to replace the roofs at the high school, roofs at the Pine-Richland High School and High School Stadium as attached. Any further discussion on that?
I just do have a question. It came up in the committee meeting. Will we know then if we go with the enhanced roof that it can handle the load? We will have that. We'll know that? Okay. Thank you.
Ever since you said belts and suspenders, he's just,
Yeah.
he's one track now.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
I just want to make sure the suspenders can hold it.
But that is choice 2, correct? To go, yeah. Sorry, Mark. Item 6.06 is an information item to schedule a Buildings and Ground Committee meeting on March 2nd at 6 p.m. Tentative topics include project updates. And is that an off night, March 2nd? I don't have it on my calendar yet.
No, it's a regular night.
It's an on night.
I haven't sent those Google out yet.
And just wanted to make, if I could, a quick comment. So Mr. Zimmerman is here, Mr. Gruber is here as well. So we want to thank you for a lot of the homework and detailed work that's taken place. These are significant projects, and the roof replacement was not to this degree ever planned. This was due to the hailstorm and the amount of time and energy that you're investing in order to fully understand the options, to see what is available to us and make the best long-term decisions. It is, I know, appreciated by the board and certainly by the senior leaders as well. The Gantt charts, love it. You know, anytime we can see project plans mapped out in that way is hugely beneficial. It helps our whole team get on the same page. So again, thank you for all the hard work.
May I ask a question just about the meeting on March 2nd? Is there a reason, do we feel like we need a meeting just for building and grounds? Because we have a finance meeting in February and one in April. Could we combine them again like we did tonight? Save a meeting.
If I remember correctly, I believe on the Gantt chart, March 2nd is the night of the big approval.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that's going to be the night where you, at your planning meeting, will ask for an action item to approve Field 6, the turf replacement, the lighting, so everything all together. We felt that it was probably prudent to have a committee meeting ahead of time so that we could kind of hash out those options. Plus, we are probably going to have, coming up in the spring, we're going to have additional items that are going to need approved. Following the February meeting, you'll be able to see the capital funding plan. I don't even have it prepared yet. So following February, we'll be able to kind of know what our first projects are going to be in the summer. And you'll have to start approving those probably March, April, so that we can start to order carpets and furniture and all those types of things in order to have them delivered over the summer. Okay. So I think that we'll have plenty to cover for that evening. So that was actually why we were anticipating that evening.
Okay.
The other thing, in my opinion, especially the February, that's going to be heavy budget, and I
Sure.
think that's going to be a pretty full finance meeting.
Okay. Makes sense.
Thanks, Greg. Thank you guys both, and thank you for being there tonight and the detailed presentation at the committee meeting. Operational services. I'm sorry, did we skip down? It's Matt, right? You know, I look up there now. I'll put my glasses on. Staff services, Dr. Mahalik.
Thank you. Item 7.01 is a motion to approve the personnel, supplemental, and transportation items as attached.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks. Item 7.02 is an information item to schedule a staff services committee meeting on April 20th, 2020 at 6 p.m. for a human resources update.
If I could, just to add to that, our staffing date will be the prior Wednesday. And so all of these items, both the general fund budget conversations plus the capital funding projects and human resource staffing levels, I mean, this is the budget. And so seeing those next to each other, I think, will be helpful as we go through that process.
Fantastic. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Mr. Moy, operational services.
Sure. Item 8.01, the Alertus renewal. This is a motion to approve the annual renewal of the Alertus Enhanced Notification Service for all district displays in the amount of $3,950.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8.02 is the 2020-2021 academic calendar. This is a motion to approve the academic calendar as attached.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And item 8.03, the graduation rain date, I will pass that on to Dr. Pasquinelli.
We place this as an informational item for the board. After tonight, we plan on sending this out as communication focused on our graduates of 2020 and their families. We've talked about this last spring about having a rain date. Again, historically, we offer Friday evening ceremony for graduation. If we struggle with the weather, then we have to move that indoors. When we move the ceremony indoors, then that limits the number of family members that can be right there present for the ceremony. We do have options for families to participate, but they're in auxiliary classrooms. So based upon feedback that we've received from families and students and staff supportive of this, we plan to offer a Saturday morning rain date. So if for some reason we cannot hold the ceremony Friday night, and the outlook is that Saturday morning that the weather will cooperate, we would communicate that out, move the ceremony to Saturday morning. Saturday morning, we feel like it's really that one shot, 10 a.m., because we know a lot of families have activities and celebrations planned for Saturday afternoon. So Saturday at 10 a.m. would be hopefully, again, at the stadium where everyone can participate. If for some reason the weather still doesn't cooperate, we would move indoors and have it at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. So we have planned communications ready to go. We just wanted to bring this in front of the board for one last time before we did so.
Thank you.
And item 8.04, schedule joint committees meeting. This is informational. The administration would like to schedule a committee meeting that includes all board members on January 13th prior to the combined board meeting. The topic to be discussed is the Mid-Atlantic Alliance for Performance Excellence application.
Yeah, again, just a quick comment here. So this is going to be, there's a lot to talk about and think about at this meeting. We are in the process right now of finalizing that first application, which is a 50-page response to the performance excellence criteria. The purpose of this meeting is to really look broadly across that whole application, understand what it means, so that when we are ready to submit by around the March timeframe, we understand why we're doing it, what we're doing, and then the feedback report we will eventually receive, which will help us better understand our strengths and opportunities for improvement. So really excited, a lot of hard work going on right now behind the scenes. So we're excited to be at this point. And again, the fifth category of our strategic plan is pursuit of excellence. And within that category, this is a significant part of that.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Dr. Miller. Item 9.01 is the third and final reading of Policy 004, membership. Have a second?
I'll second. Sorry.
Is there any discussion? Thank you, Barb, for bringing us forward and keeping us moving on this. All those in favor say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.02 is a motion to appoint Mr. DiTullio, representative to the Pine Township Parks and Recreation Board from our board.
Second.
Greg, we would have done it last week. We tried. You got to go through the formalities.
Technically wasn't a board member.
How'd it feel? Good week? We like to appoint people who don't show up, so watch it next time. All those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.03 is the vacancy for the Beatty Career Center. We've appointed Christine to fill another term. We have a second appointment there that is still open. I have not heard from anybody at this point. So, and you all showed up. so I wasn't kidding. So there's nobody we can appoint separately who didn't make it here. We do have one new board member joining us hopefully next week. So we haven't gone that far with waiting, but I'd like to table it. If it doesn't work for their schedule and there's no further interest, I can take this position. But let's wait another week and see what that looks like, if that's possible.
It is. Can table that, that's fine.
Like to table it again.
You just need a second.
Second.
All in favor of tabling it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. In the meantime, please speak to Ms. Back about what service is like. She'll give you the schedule of the meetings, et cetera, if you have any questions, and can do it.
I'd be happy to talk to anybody as well.
Item 9.03 is just an information item pursuant to our conversation at the reorg meeting regarding our committees. We will not be appointing individual committee members this year, and we made very few changes to the committee chairs. In fact, the only change was Dr. Mihalik taking Ginny's role as the head of staff services. So this is really just here to remind everybody on the board and as a public announcement of the committee heads. This is somewhat of an experiment. I have to say we started off great to have a committee meeting where we had to bring more chairs in during the meeting because we were too full. That's precisely what we want to see. So I'm confident that this will work out as a good change and evolution in how we conceive of ourselves. And as we look forward on that schedule, I mean, there's a lot of meat in those committee meetings, a lot of the details that we discuss. We were able to get through this agenda, B and G, because of the detailed level discussions we have at those committee meetings. So I'm sure we will have interest and be able to fulfill all our obligations there. Any other comments? Fantastic. Item 9.05 is simply a reminder of our special meeting scheduled for Tuesday, December 17th at 6 p.m. here in this room for the purpose of interviewing candidates and hopefully appointing somebody to fill the vacancy in Richland Township's Region 3. Reports. We do have a report from Ms. Misbach. Go first, Christine, on
Yes.
Prof.
Yes, and Ms. Lund did cover some of that. So Prof did award about $47,000 in November, utilizing $5,000 of what the donation that the board made. There is a summary of a few of the grants here. Did you want to speak to any of them, Dr. Pasquinelli? You don't need to do all of them if you wanted to.
No, I'll just comment that, what we're most pleased about is, again, those have gone through with us the in-depth program reviews. You see a lot of the recommendations that come out of those in-depth program reviews in our Prof grants.
Okay.
I mean, perfect example, hackathon, integrating coding into our elementary and middle school programs. That's directly related to that recommendation that came out of the business and computer science. The collaboration room is an extension for our gifted ed program, but also enhances our general ed program. So we're excited about that. Came out of in-depth program review. So when we see those links to what Prof is supporting, what the school board is supporting, to what we see as most important for our program development, that's exactly where we want to be with these. So much appreciated to Prof and to the school board and community.
And there was quite a few, this FAST grant, if you saw that, that's the less, it's $1,000 or less that the grants committee has the authority to approve without going to the full board of trustees. And so there were quite a few in this fall window, as Dr. Pasquinelli pointed out. And we actually got to see the sensory path that was at the Hance Elementary. That was funded by Prof. And actually put down by the principal and the teacher instead of paying a couple $1,000s to have it put down. It was quite expensive, so they did it themselves. So, yeah, so it's been quite successful doing the FAST grant, as well as then these full grants are just that they're greater than $1,000 they fall in the window, and they have to be approved by the board at a meeting, so. That's it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christine. We'll go right to recognition, second recognition of visitors. If anyone would like to address the board. Seeing how there is none, we'll move to adjourn the meeting to an executive session to discuss personnel negotiations and a student matter. Have a good evening, everyone.